A 13-year-old Magnus Carlsen going against the greatest chess player of the 20th century, an unknown kid beating a professional chess YouTuber, and a low-ranking 10-year-old schoolchild humbling an international master in a casual game. There are certain moments in chess where even the most unlikely little kids can impress beyond their years. And here are some of the best ones out there. Samuel Sevian versus Greg Shahade. There are a few things as satisfying as seeing the clear line of victory when playing chess.
It's on video. Good game, huh?
And whether you are a grandmaster or just an amateur, that feeling gets even more awesome when the person you are playing against is supposed to be better at chess than you are. Well, that is what happened to 10-year-old Samuel Sevian one day at a chess school when he got to play against ranked master Greg Shahade, who had expected the game to be over soon when he sat down. But then, this happened. You can immediately tell that Greg did not expect this to happen, and as the game progresses, it becomes more and more obvious that this was not random luck. I mean, with that kind of energy, just gulping down soda and crackling knuckles without breaking a sweat, it wasn't shocking when Greg started laughing at the absurdity of it all.
Should have let him play earlier, huh?
Here are a few other iconic moments that goes to show just how insane this experience was for both of them. After 3 minutes, the game just devolves into a rapid-fire battle for dominance, as the rest of the people in the school come along in to spectate, all of which ultimately results in an incredible win for the young kid, as his mentor tried to sneak his way out but ultimately yields. Korolski versus Kostenko. Now, not all matches like this one happens randomly. Some actually take place in ranked tournaments like this one from the World Rapid 2022 competition. You see, one of the competitors during the competition was a young prodigy, Egor Korolski, a fighting master who held a highly respectable rapid rating of 2256 at the time the match was placed. But when he faced Grandmaster and seasoned veteran Petr Kostenko, it seemed that his time in the league was over. But what happened next shocked everyone. Even though he was shorter on time and was a whole minute less than his opponent, he continued to chop away at Kostenko's defenses, to the amazement of the spectators. In fact, just one move later, he has such a great hold on Kostenko that Egor comes out with a time advantage, and you can just see the stress and impending defeat in Petr's expression. In the preceding few minutes, the match grows more and more intense, and a few glares are shot between the players, followed quickly by a swift and strong checkmate by the 11-year-old Gen Zer, much to the disappointment and amazement of the Grandmaster. Now, while most encounters like these do take place between experienced players, sometimes random strangers you meet at conventions can also humble well-versed experts. This was the experience of chess YouTuber Andrea Botez as she played a game against a random 9-year-old kid at a chess shop in London. The game starts pretty regularly, but it is immediately obvious that even though the kid doesn't have a fighty ranking, with a 2300 score on League Chess, he is no joke. And even though the woman tries to poke fun at him, the kid remains unfazed.
Oh, 2,300? Actually? How did that happen? Let your dad play on your account?
The game proceeds pretty naturally, with both players getting their pieces out and forming their defenses. As the game proceeds, it is revealed that the kid has actually been playing since he was just 5 years old, a fact that will become even more obvious very soon. By the middle of the game, the kid starts picking up heat as he mounts his defense and brings his knight further into the other side of the board. In a few moments, a bad move by the YouTuber results in the kid gaining even more access. The next minute or so devolves into a rapid-fire round of playing until the young player manages to sneak his queen onto a7, a daring but brilliant move. As their timers quickly approach under a minute, the YouTuber starts realizing that she is going to lose, as the kid slowly starts celebrating his oncoming victory. All of which ultimately culminates in an impressive victory for the kid as the onlookers cheer him on for the undoubtedly good game. Tani versus Nakamura. The name of Hikaru Nakamura is familiar to anyone who engages in chess, no matter how little. The Grandmaster is pretty much the unofficial champion of Blitz games, so when he was challenged by an 8-year-old kid to a game, most people assumed that he would win without breaking a sweat. But little did they know, the kid named Tani Adwami would himself turn out to be a legend on his own right. Before long, Hikaru castles and starts mounting an offense, which prompts Tani to also bring out his bishop so he can attack the Grandmaster. The game continues in a slow pace as the two continue to expand their attacks and exchange pieces. Hikaru soon finds an opening and plays an incredible across-the-board move with his queen, making stuff look bad for Tani, but that doesn't last very long at all. The game starts catching up speed before long as pieces are repeatedly captured, with the situation getting more and more difficult for Hikaru. It is only near the end that Hikaru manages to gear up and attack Tani, which the kid, who was born in 2010, still manages to counter, resulting in an uneasy but incredibly impressive draw. Magnus Carlsen versus Garry Kasparov. There are few people more well-known or widely celebrated as the reigning world champion and Norwegian legend Magnus Carlsen. But while most people know him from his decade-long streak as the greatest player in the world and his consistent online presence, few people think about the time when he himself was a young and ambitious kid, which is a shame because one of his most impressive and iconic matchups took place during this time, and it was against none other than the other chess legend and the greatest chess player of the 20th century, Garry Kasparov himself. However, interestingly enough, the start of the game actually foreshadowed the ending in an interesting way when Kasparov actually ended up being a little late to the game while Carlsen waited and set his pieces. It was only after a long while that the number 1 player in the world reached the table to play against the number 700th player, who also happened to be a 28 years old junior and the youngest player he had ever played against. The senior sat down at the table and shook Magnus's hand before the game officially started with Magnus playing the white pieces. Kasparov did take some time in making his first move, but soon the game was well underway. As the match progressed, it quickly became obvious that the two were far too evenly matched despite their ranking and age differences, although Carlsen did start to lose time on his side for a while there. Soon, Garry could be seen getting agitated as the playing grew more intense. All the while, Carlsen maintained his cool and made up for the difference. The kid even managed to walk around looking bored while his opponent struggled to counter. Soon, this play resulted in Magnus actually coming out on top with an extra pawn, although his time kept running out. Still, it was obvious from Kasparov's demeanor that there was only one way this game could end, which soon came true as the world champion yielded to a draw against his 13-year-old future successor.